Guys, this is a very special Wisdom Wednesday. Today we're going to talk about how you all have always gotten what you wanted. Always gotten what you've wanted, no matter, when you really think about it. When you sit back and think about it, you really have always gotten what you've wanted. And, go back to your earliest memory of, if you were like me when I was young, when I was, being told what to do, I just wanted to not be told what to do, simple enough. And of course we got that, right? But we got that with the passage of time. And that is the same thing, with everything that you have. I just saw a gecko hop over a rock. That was crazy. Or a lizard, whatever it is. But with the passage of time, you've gotten what you've wanted. And I feel like that may be the thing that make you not realize that you've always gotten what you wanted, right? So what I'm getting at, guys, is, I feel like for myself, that's how we speak with personal experience. I feel like I've always gotten what I've wanted, whether it was a pair of shoes, a new car, or, anything. Always gotten it with the passage of time, though, right? So from the first voicing of saying, I want this, there was time that had passed before I actually got it. Whether it was my first wholesale deal as I, got older, whether it was even to play college football. All of these things, I ultimately got them. And, the thing that makes, for at least for me, the thing that makes me feel good about knowing that I've always gotten what I've wanted is that I'll always get what I want, right? And just really let that sink in. So, maybe you are looking at me like, man, what the hell is this guy talking about? Somebody always got, I never always gotten what I wanted. You were spoiled, you were a brat. Nah, it ain't like that. It really ain't like that. I really just framed it in my head to say that I've always gotten what I wanted with the passage of time. That way, as I'm on my journey right now, and all the things that I do want, I'll for sure get. It's just a matter of time. You feel me? So that's what keeps me going. That's just a little insight of what keeps me going, along with, beautiful scenery and getting out. So like, out here in nature. These things keep me going, guys, because I'm able to embrace the moment. I'm able to love where I'm at right now and also identify where I want to be at. And this is all, can be easier said than done if you don't really grasp the idea that you've always gotten what you've wanted. I feel like out of all the Wisdom Wednesdays that I've done, I wanted you guys to understand with this last one, you putting it in your head that you've always gotten what you wanted, you'll just keep going and you won't even question if. It won't even be a question of if, how. Just know that it's coming. And the it is whatever you want it, to be, right? So if you stay this long in the video, I do appreciate it, because this one is very, very simple. That was it. And this is the last Wisdom Wednesday. So I want to make another one, which is right now. We're going to talk about unwritten agreements. Guys, any life, any type of relationship that you have an unwritten agreement of who you are going to be in that relationship, right? So in that relationship, there's an unwritten agreement of who you are going to be. So whether it's a parent and a child relationship, whether it's a boss and employee relationship, or whether it's a girlfriend and boyfriend relationship, whatever, a romantic relationship, whatever it is, you have an unwritten agreement of who you are, right? So that being said, go back to the create, persist, destroy cycle. If you guys were tapped in and you watched that one, if not, definitely go back there. But when you go back to the create, persist, destroy cycle, and if you go back to the point where you reach satisfaction, when you've created what you wanted, right? And you've persisted and now you finally got it, right? But we know once you get what you want, you're on the destroy cycle, right? You're starting to go down a destroy phase of it, right? Now, this being said, though, with these unwritten agreements, you can unintentionally demolish a relationship if you don't really, rewrite the agreement of who you are in that given relationship. And just to give you guys a quick example, and this is an example from the book from the book So Why Aren't You Rich by Dale Rutherford. So long story short, it was an example of this woman who had a husband who was a drunk. He stayed out all night, and he was drunk and just was out all night doing who knows what, right? Long story short, the first time he did it, the woman, his wife, she told him to, don't do it again. Don't do it again. You hurt my feelings, blah, blah, blah. So he said, okay, I'm not going to do it again. I'm not going to do it again. But right there, what happened was the unwritten agreement was that he could do it, and then she would say, don't do it again. And then he'll say, I won't do it again. And then it'll be fine. Right there, the unwritten agreement was set right in that very instant without him ever doing it again. That being said, though, as time passed, of course, he kept doing it. So how that woman, could have handled that situation in order to stop that was to actually, leave him, was to leave that person and to actually, make him realize that she'll be gone if he continues this. So the unwritten agreement, instead of it being this guy comes home, she's crying, and, he apologizes. She says, okay, don't do it again. And the unwritten agreement is he'll do it again, and she'll say, don't do it again. That's the unwritten agreement. Instead of it being that, it would have been she's leaving and she's gone for X amount of time if she decided to come back. But the bottom line is she had to leave because the unwritten agreement was going to be, now I'm leaving. So if you do it again, I'm leaving. There's no again. So that being said, you have to be cognizant of that, because what can happen is, be cognizant of your unwritten agreements. Your relationship, whatever relationship it may be, it may not be that specific relationship is going downhill. It may be that you have changed, and you just have to realize that you've changed the person that you were in the beginning of that relationship. So in order to make that relationship work, you have to rewrite that agreement of the new person that you are in that relationship. Whether it's a parent and child relationship, the most common thing of this, right, with a parent-child relationship, most often people don't cuss in front of their parents. Why? Because as a parent-child relationship, they don't cuss in that relationship. In that written agreement, unwritten agreement, they don't cuss. In that unwritten agreement, there's no agreement that they, don't cuss, but it's unwritten. So in that unwritten agreement, they don't cuss. And they, may not do a lot of things in front of their parents, whether it be drinking or smoking, whatever it may be. But that being said, that's an unwritten agreement. In order to make that, agreement different, if you feel like you have to, then you would change that unwritten agreement by telling your parents the new person that you decide to be in that relationship. So that is very huge as well. So I just hit you guys with two things that I really wanted to get off my chest, because like I said, this is the last Wisdom Wednesday. I'm so freaking excited. I started this whole phase, and if you've stayed this far, I'll tell you this phase of, a lot of information. I started this back in May, the beginning of May. Went about 5 days a week. And, we're rearing the end of it, and, enjoy these next couple of days, the next few days, because, once this phase is over, and it'll be on to new things. If you are, here for, the same stuff that I've been producing, then, you just rejoice and enjoy the content that I have released, because there is different things coming as I keep growing. I told you guys, this is, steps to success. It's not only, about the journey that I have taken, but it's about the journey that I am taking, because the journey never stops. And I really am a firm believer of that. So I'm excited for this next journey, this next phase of it. One thing's for sure is I will be loving the journey, and you should too. Soak up these views with me. Amazingly enough, if you watched the first episode, this is where it all started, except it was somewhere over there. That was about 23 weeks ago. And I didn't stop. And I already feel like a success on my journey because of things that I just told you guys, right? Things like knowing that I've always gotten what I wanted. So what's the difference now? Steps to success has affected millions of people around the world. I'm a vessel of joy, a vessel of God, and so are you. So that being said, just put it in your head that you've always gotten what you wanted. That way you always will. More beautiful views. Life is just about perspective, man. It's a mental game. Choose thoughts that feel good. As always, get to stepping.